In today's program, we'll take a look at the diary of events for January 12th through the 26th. So as we saw the last time around, the band played 4 incredible shows at San Francisco's Fillmore West. Reviews were positive. Local critics and crowds felt the dawn of a new era was upon them. The San Francisco Examiner said they were no lead balloon and placed them on the same category of prominent names like The Who, The Stones, and Cream. Billboard News reports as early as January 11th talked about Led Zeppelin's first American tour, where they would hit premier music venues in the East Coast. Now let's move on to the 4th night at the Fillmore, January 12th, 1969. Just as the band played their last number, Killing Floor, they had one good reason to be smiling. It was the day Atlantic Records history was made. Led Zeppelin's debut album was released in the US via catalog number SD8216. Original 1969 credits for Led Zeppelin did not include Robert Plant, with one possible reason: his late 60s CBS contract, which was eventually sorted out by Atlantic. Page, Jones, and Bonham got 3 credits, while Page and Jones got 1 as a duet for Your Time Is Gonna Come. Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You was set as traditional, with arrangements by Jimmy Page. It would be until Remasters 1990 where this would change to original composer Ann Breeden, Page, and Plant. You Shook Me was credited to Willie Dixon, while Dazed and Confused went to Jimmy Page. This came back to haunt him in 2010 when author Jake Holmes found out about Led Zeppelin's take some 40 years later. The 2014 reissues fixed this by stating "inspired by Jake Holmes," with Page himself quoted in the most recent Becoming Led Zeppelin film as to be inspired by Jake Holmes. Now we gotta give it to Jimmy, the violin bow section, the guitar solo, and the outro was created by him when he was with the Yardbirds, so he technically wrote it and was inspired on somebody else's motif or introduction. Moving on, Black Mountain Side went to Jimmy, and I Can't Quit You Baby was rightfully credited to Willie Dixon. Back cover included Chris Drage's October 1968 photo, Viran Jasani credited for tabla drums, as well as Glenn Johns for Director of Engineering, next to a grey background Led Zeppelin logo. Now the UK release would have to wait until March 1969 for British fans to get their hands on the album via catalog number 588171. Early UK pressings, first 4 pressings to be specific, had the now famous and highly collectible turquoise lettering version, which was quickly recalled and fixed with the proper orange color. Copies can go as high as $3,300 on Discogs, and it definitely looks weird. Something about the cold turquoise color just doesn't translate the Led Zeppelin concept well. Atlantic put out a special brochure complete with promotional shots and several press releases, including the group's history and personal profiles. A careful copy read proves Jimmy Page is a star here, with much emphasis on his vision and the papers letting the world know, quote, he's the only unmarried member of Led Zeppelin. Bonham was praised for his drumming and, according to Page, the champion beer drinker in England. Front cover is the famous December 1968 photo, while the back comes from this other 68 session. Like I mentioned on previous episodes, the brochure featured Robert Plant on lead vocals, harmonica, and a strange occasional bass credit that still doesn't make sense. Led Zeppelin 1 was released on vinyl, cassette, 4-track, 8-track, and reel-to-reel formats. Because they had no custom logo at the time, variations on a theme were used for promotional materials where the band's name came in handy, going for the aircraft shape as main motif. Led Zeppelin took a couple of days off hanging out in San Francisco, while new music releases kept record stores busy, like the tasteful blues sounds of a double album, The Live Adventures of Mike Bloomfield and Al Cooper, recorded at Fillmore West back in September 1968, with a historic cameo appearance by Carlos Santana on side 3. Also on the shelves was the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, released on January 13th, while the White Album remained at the top of the Billboard 200 charts. The Soviet Union Soyuz 4 was launched on January 14th, the same day rock frontman Dave Grohl was born in Warren, Ohio. Speaking of the Midwest, Led Zeppelin packed their bags for their 8th show of 1969 in Iowa City, scheduled January 15th. Now, a fellow subscriber of this channel and Iowa resident, Steve Pullman, emailed me with some great facts and valuable information about this concert. This is a 1969 picture of him at 11 months old, most likely looking at a Led Zeppelin promotional poster, judging by his smile. Steve graduated from the University of Iowa in 1993 and saw both planned solo career and Plan and Page shows in Iowa. We can spot 2 Led Zeppelin posters in his collection, Knebworth August 11th and Oakland 1977. Cheers, man, and thanks for reaching out. So, University of Iowa's Central Party Committee was in charge of putting together a concert for the music fans. A local January 5th report talked about Led Zeppelin playing U of I after taking the spot left by jazz legend Count Basie, whose show was cancelled. I looked into possible reasons for Basie's absence, and he was scheduled to perform 2 nights at the Tropicana Hotel Las Vegas on January 28th and 30th. Both shows were captured via Wally Heider's famous mobile recording unit, the same Led Zeppelin used in 1972 and 1973. Count Basie's live album Standing Ovation was released in 1969. So it seems he wanted to focus on Las Vegas instead of detouring for Iowa. Consecutive Iowa newspaper articles kept coming through January 8th, trying to make up for the short notice, but word on Led Zeppelin conquering the Fillmore plus news on their brand new album was good enough to get people interested. Local band Mother Blues was the opener, fine-tuned with late 60s college anti-Vietnam demonstrations. They were a mixture of fusion, jazz, and blues, who released their first LP until 1978. Both concert posters had, of course, that sole Led Zeppelin promo shot, with a second version, a creative take on the spirit of 1969. Minus 5 degrees Celsius temperatures in Iowa on January 15th made Zeppelin tour manager Richard Cole's job almost impossible. The band had to use Mother Blues' gear instead in a freezing cold stage. Here are 2 photographs from the local yearbook. It was Jimmy Page's first time in Iowa since 1966, when he played this state with the Yardbirds. One audience member, David Sundance, got in without a ticket. He was told to leave and started yelling free music for free people. He got arrested. Robert Plant got $45 from the audience to bail him out. Good guy, Robert Plant. Creedence's Bayou Country was released that same day. Led Zeppelin moved up to Detroit, Michigan, and the Grande Ballroom, a popular rock venue that opened its doors as a dance hall in 1928 before concert renovations were done in the mid-60s. Manager Peter Grande knew the name. The Jeff Beck Group played 5 shows in the busy Grande Ballroom concert year of 1968, 142 shows with ballroom regulars, both Michigan rock icons, the Stooges and MC5. British representation in 68 came via Cream, Procol Harum, Jimmy Page and the Yardbirds for 2 nights in May, a consecutive agenda of Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd and The Who, 10 years after, the Jeff Beck Group, the Kinks, the Moody Blues, and 3 nights with Deep Purple. 1969 concert dates right before Led Zeppelin's turn included Genesis, but not the British band, but an American group that later disbanded. Third Power was a Michigan power trio who released Believe in 1970. James Gang was in the middle of recording their debut album, and it's believed Joel Walsh attended one of Zeppelin's gigs in January, where he met Jimmy Page for the first time and talked about a possible guitar sale. Hilariously billed as Led Zeppelin, they had 3 opening acts that weekend, including Lynn County, an Iowa bass blues band 2 records into their short career with Proud Flesh Soothsayer and Fever Shot. Both released on Mercury Records. They were allegedly paid a $50,000 advance to sign with the label.
Come on, children, play about the good days. Sing about the bad.
Wynn put out an album in 1969, Make Believe, featuring this guy on vocals. His name, Tony Orlando. Led Zeppelin played their usual set with Dragon Telecaster Jimmy Page wearing a selection of velvet pants next to his Rickenbacker Transonic amps and Vox amp head. Speaking of the Rickenbacker brand, Jumble Jones used a 4001S solid body 1963 model as well as his Fender Jazz Precision instrument of choice. Local press spoke well of Led Zeppelin, labeling them another cream, while providing some Yardbirds background into how the group came to be. Led Zeppelin returned to this same venue in less than 4 months. It was a Grande concert. Led Zeppelin had days off again before their next concert series. January 20th through the 23rd was spent traveling and getting settled into the East Coast, the band's first shows in what would be a region and host to many historic moments in years to come. It was a week of polarizing events. President Richard Nixon was sworn on the 20th, while General Secretary Leonid Brezhnev experienced an assassination attempt on the 22nd while on a motorcade. His driver was killed, he was unhurt. Now it looks like the album cover for Physical Graffiti, but it's actually the back street to the famous Boston Tea Party venue, where Led Zeppelin was scheduled to play 4 nights. To have one of the hottest British bands perform here was turning tables on history. The Boston Tea Party incident was a pivotal and game-changing moment in American history, taking place on December 16th, 1773. I read several sources including a 2023 article looking to debunk some myths around it. So the British East India Company was giving monopoly of American tea sales, which pissed off American colonies, rightfully so. The response was not tea for one, but tea for no one, as 100 men boarded 3 British ships and dumped some 92,000 pounds of tea into Boston Harbor. It was a well-planned protest that fueled tensions into the inevitable fire that became the American Revolution. Now, Peter Grande and Led Zeppelin didn't get much support from British promoters back home, thus they found the land of opportunity in America, and in this regard, there was an alignment of intention, so to speak. Led Zeppelin was not technically welcomed by the British establishment. The Boston Tea Party venue opened its doors in January 1967 at 53 Berkeley Street, which was built as a synagogue, thus the Star of David on the front of the building. Previously a place for underground film reunions, the Tea Party concert business was founded by lawyer Ray Ripon and MIT graduate David Hahn, who also designed the light show. Concert bookings and attendance numbers stepped up when record producer Don Law, the only man to record Robert Johnson in 1937, joined the partnership. Law had retired from Columbia Records after continuing a long family tradition in the business, but kept himself busy with the Tea Party. 1967 saw 93 shows including jazz legend Sun Ra and the Velvet Underground, which became a venue favorite for the next couple of years, along the locals The Hallucinations, featuring soon-to-be Jay Giles Band singer Peter Wolf. 1968 had 148 shows, including Jimmy Page and the Yardbirds, on April 11th, making this a valuable first step into building a future Zeppelin relationship. Peter Grande's own protege, Jeff Beck, played 4 shows in June, making these gigs the ones that broke the group in America, with Peter Grande and Yardbirds' Jimmy Page in attendance, allegedly. Jeff Beck came back in October for a 3-day series. Other shows for 1968 included Procol Harum, Traffic, The Velvet Underground with 13 dates, Albert King, and 10 years after playing 3 consecutive nights. By 1969, buzz around the Tea Party was real, the place where any rising rock and roll star wanted to perform. The agenda included B.B. King January 2nd through the 4th, followed by a Velvet Underground marathon, San Francisco's own Mother Earth, and another Velvet Underground show on January 22nd, the day before Led Zeppelin took the stage. Talk of the town was Jimmy Page. The former Yardbird was bringing his new group. A press release briefly described his new path into Zeppelin along the line of Atlantic Records promo materials. It was the same script every news outlet and reporter was running. Original Boston Tea Party dates were set at January 17th through the 19th, but troubled weather conditions in the Midwest made things complicated, so Boston was rescheduled. Also, the Grande Ballroom gigs were great practice for what would be Zeppelin's Make It or Break It series in America. Boston was the big test after Fillmore West. American psychedelic blues band Raven from Buffalo, New York was chosen as opener, having good traction in the East Coast. Their self-titled debut was released in 1969 via CBS Records. Led Zeppelin's first time at the Boston Tea Party was also a historic show for John Bonham, who switched to a brand new Ludwig set, now his third kit since the band's live debut. These maple Ludwig drums became legendary, the birth of the maple sound, the maple milestone. Bonzo used this kit to record their follow-up, as well as many famous 1969 TV performances that are a part of the precious visual documents from this era. Bonham stuck to these drums all the way through April 1970. He really loved this maple drum kit. The rest of the band used their accustomed tools of choice for a historic series of shows at Boston. So there are 3 bootleg recordings except January 24th. Every show grew bigger in intention and confidence, while the crowd frenzy proved the hype behind the band was real. With their debut album also growing in sales nationwide, the Tea Party shows made it official. Led Zeppelin found its second home in America. Manager Peter Grande gave them a big hug off stage. According to Jumble Jones, he was crying manager tears and friendship tears. Grande knew the years of hardships and struggles were now turning tides. This was their ticket into stardom, and never begging a British promoter to go check them out. The Boston Tea Party followed a similar fate to Fillmore West, closing its doors in 1971, thus ending a great platform for so many bands. The more you think about it, and it's clear Led Zeppelin was at the right time, at the right place, before stadium rock and big festivals took over. They came back to Boston's Tea Party by popular demand in May to further cement their legacy in the city. Now join me for an audio summary of their January concert run, so put your headphones on and enjoy my musical analysis plus an enhanced stereo mix.
So right now, what I'm doing is we welcome Led Zeppelin to the stage. It's great to be in Boston. According to Jimmy, it's one of the best places he's ever played. So let's see what we can do. It's a bit of a funny sound coming out of the microphone. Anyway, we got this, I think right now in the shops, there's an album called Led Zeppelin. I don't know whether it's out yet, it seems to be. Is it out? You see, in one place it comes out one day, another place about 3 weeks later or something like that. Anyway, on this album we've tried to do a cross-section of everything that we got into. And we've included some blues because that's where it all comes from. This is a thing on an album which we got off Chicago, the Blues Today or something like that. It's called hang on a minute. That sounds really strange. It's like his master's voice, the record players with the big trumpets. I think I'll stick to the trumpet. I think I will. Right, what else? All the ladies in the United States. I'd like to thank Grande for supplying English here. Yes, and I'd also like to thank the staff of the Lennox Hotel for not letting us eat in the dining room. And most of all, we want to thank you for coming along tonight, because Sunday nights apparently it isn't usually open, so it's very good of you. Now,